Hey fam, you ever wonder if you're cleaning out your pantry and if this food is actually expired? Let's go over a quick list and make sure you are not throwing out any of these items. This is Shauna and I'm checking in over here at Moments with Us. Hopefully you all are doing well, and make sure that you guys check in and let us know where you are watching from. Let's go ahead and see this list and see what foods actually never expire. So the first food that we're going to go ahead and put down that do not ever expire. So if you have this packaging and you're going through dates and things like that, if it still smell good and look like it's in good condition and it doesn't have any bugs in there, definitely keep these items. Just make sure you store them away correctly. So number one thing that you do not want to throw away is white rice. White rice is known as polished rice. It would keep its actual nutritional value for up to 30 years, you guys. Yes, that is 30 years. Of course, if you really want your rice to last a lifetime, store your rice in some containers with some oxygen absorbers. Make sure those containers are airtight so nothing won't get in and the air, of course, won't get out. If that makes sense, just make sure that it is airtight. So white rice, that's something definitely that you want to go ahead and consider stockpiling if you have not already. It should be in the top of your list when it comes down to having extra on hand and stockpiling. Number two, another thing that does not expire is honey. Honey does have plenty of uses. Not only does it taste good, but definitely it has medicinal uses as well. Honey is actually highly resistant to bacteria, which is great because guess what? Then it increases its lifetime. Well, yeah. I guess that makes sense, right? So how long will honey last? Some experts actually believe the oldest jar of honey is several thousand years old. Wow, over 1,000 years old of honey. Can you just imagine opening a jar and someone say, hey, that honey is over 1,000 years old and it's still good? So number two is honey. Honey is something that you actually want to keep in your pantry overall. Number three is salt. One tip that I can give you guys about salt, when you're storing away salt, right? And you want to go ahead and you want to put in jars. Some people actually made the mistake of putting in oxygen absorbers, guys. You do not put oxygen absorbers in salt. Why? It would then turn your salt like a brick. And then you'll find yourself trying to beat up your salt just to get a little bit off. So you do not want to do that. So this one here says salt, otherwise known as sodium chloride, is a mineral taken away from the Earth's crust. And because it effectively removes moisture from foods, salt has also been used for hundreds of years to preserve food items. There you go. Most notably for fish. So if y'all ever heard of a thing called saltfish, it's a fish that you go ahead and you can keep in your freezer, and that saltfish have a whole bunch of salt on it, and it preserves very well in the freezer. Like, it takes forever to begin to even go bad. So yes, saltfish is something that takes a lot of salt. So if you never had saltfish, the next time that you're in a grocery store and you're shopping, go into the fish section and look at the saltfish, and you can see the thick coating around it. That is actually salt. So it may be no surprise, therefore, that salt lasts an incredibly long time. Of course, not all salt is equal in this regard. Some brands or types of salt contain iodine, so look out for that, which can reduce its shelf life to only about 5 years instead of the typical infinity. So number four on the list that will not expire is sugar. So same as salt. Please do not make the mistake of storing away your sugar and throwing in an oxygen absorber, because it would then turn your sugar into a brick, and then you will have brick or block sugar. Okay, so number five is maple syrup. So maple syrup actually lasts indefinitely. like a very, very long time, almost a lifetime as well. Long as it's stored correctly in a dark, dry, cool place, you are good to go. But honestly, make sure it's that 100% pure maple syrup. It has an indefinite shelf life, you guys. So that's just a quick list of things that actually last indefinitely. It has a lifelong shelf life. So what are some things that you're keeping in your pantry and you know for sure, like, well, hey, I don't have to throw this out. At least I know that this will last practically forever. And I don't have to actually overstock up on this item just because I do know that I actually have enough. What are some items that you know you definitely don't have to keep going in your pantry and rotating out? Because let's all admit, there are some items in our pantry that we probably honestly don't use. And when we go to rotate our items, that's when we notice it, because guess what? There's something that's actually been sitting in our pantry, and boom, that's when we notice, like, hey, I forgot I had this, or hey, now I have 2 of these or 3 of these in my case, such as seasonings. Yeah, you overbuy. So, I mean, but that's the purpose of rotating your pantry. So you won't overstock and things won't go bad. But what are some things that you definitely have in your pantry and you know for sure that that item would not go bad? Like with me, for instance, mine's is rice. I know I have enough rice on hand. Even though I do not cook rice as often, I know I do have enough. But the issue is with rice, and some people might face this issue. So someone did say a while back, I bought several bags of rice to try and build my storage. First thing that people start with is rice, of course. So this person froze them, then stored in a gamma bucket with bay leaves. All 3 different containers have small little black bugs in them. The person asks, what am I doing wrong? Every time I try to build my storage, something like this happens. Last time it was my flour, and leaves me feeling frustrated and defeated. And then guess what? The person no longer wants to try to stockpile, store, and preserve food. So now when it comes down to rice, you guys, the best thing to do, even if you're going to freeze your rice, some people say freeze that rice for 3 days. And before you store it, some people have make the mistake and actually just throwing it in a bucket after they freeze it. You have to thaw that rice and make sure that that rice is dry before storing it, because if you throw it in a bucket and seal it, what is going to happen? It's actually going to create a lot of moisture in that bucket, and that is not a good thing. So if you're going to make sure you have to make sure that that rice is completely dry first before storing it in a bucket, and make sure it's sealed all the way. Make sure you have your oxygen absorbers ready, because I see that the person didn't mention anything about oxygen absorbers when throwing the rice inside the buckets. But the best way to do this, honestly, you don't even have to freeze your rice. Though some people say, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Everyone have different methods, and different things work for different people, especially depending on where you are storing your items. But this way works all the time, especially for me. And I personally do not even make space to freeze the big bags of rice. I take my rice, you can put them in Mylar bags, throw the bay leaf up in there, make sure those Mylar bags are sealed. And then you're going to go ahead with the oxygen absorber too. Throw that in there as well. Once again, make sure it is sealed. Once again, remember, if you are freezing your rice, make sure that it completely dry or it will mold. And then not only have you wasted precious time, you done wasted your money. But yes, that was one major thing to actually touch up on, just because rice is like actually the main thing that people store. Is like the top, I'm going to say the top one, because it's actually the first thing that people go for when they are storing away food. So we're going to leave this video right here where it's at. Hopefully you guys got some great information from this video. If you did and you are new here, please go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to actually go over foods not to stockpile probably the next video, or the video after the next video. So that's like 3 videos from now. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. It's very important that you put your notification bell on so you would not miss that upload. Like I said, we're leaving this right here where it's at. This is Shauna, and I'm officially checking out from Moments with Us. Make sure you all stay prepped, stay blessed, stay safe. Most of all, remain beautiful queens and kings. Until next video, I'm officially up out of here. Peace.